Dear student, welcome back again in our today's session. And in today's session, I'm going to discuss about hypothesis. In this lecture, we will understand the concept of hypothesis. So without further ado, let's start our today's topic. First, we will understand the concept of hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Basically, a hypothesis is a testable statement or predictions that serves as the foundation for scientific research. Hypothesis is made up of two words, hypo and thesis, which means less than or less certain than a thesis. A hypothesis must be a specific and measurable, means it can be proven true or false through the experimentation or observation. It guides the research process by providing a very clear focus and direction for the gathering and analyzing the data, ultimately helping to confirm or refute the proposed idea. So basically, we talk about the hypothesis. So hypothesis is usually considered as an important mechanism in research. And hypothesis is an tentative assumptions made in order to test its logical or empirical consequences. And it is being limited in a scope and consistent with the known or established facts and should be amendable or to testing within the stipulated time. So it needs to explain what it claimed to explain and should have empirical references. So overall, we can say that hypothesis is a tentative answer of a question. Now, next we are going to discuss about the definitions of hypothesis. So as you can see that we have mentioned two definition. The first definition is given by Lundberg. Lundberg says that a hypothesis is a tentative generalization, the validity of which remains to be tested. In its most elementary stage, the hypothesis may be any hunch, guesses, imaginative idea which becomes the basis for the action or investigation. Now, the second definition is given by Good and Hurt. Good and Hurt says that a proposition which can be put to test to determine its validity is called hypothesis. So basically, hypothesis is a hunch, assumption, suspicions, ascertain, or an idea about a phenomena, relationship, or a situation, the reality or truth of which you do not know. A researcher calls these assumptions, hunches, hypotheses, and they become the basis of an inquiry. In most studies, the hypothesis will be based upon your own or someone else's observation. Hypothesis brings clarity and a specific reality and focus towards research problem, but it is not essential for a study. You can conduct a valid investigation without constructing formal hypothesis. The formulation of hypothesis provide a study with a focus. It tells you what specific aspects of a research problem to investigate. A hypothesis tells about the what data to collect and what not to collect, thereby providing a focus to the study. As it is provides a focus, the construction of a hypothesis enhances the objectivity in a study. A hypothesis may enable you to add the formulation of a theory. So it enables you to specific conclude what is true or what is false. So this is all about the concept of hypothesis. Now, after discussing about the concept of hypothesis, Next, we are going to discuss about the nature of hypothesis. If we talk about the nature of hypothesis, so as you can see that the first one is conceptual. Conceptual, that means a hypothesis is not just an abstract idea floating in your mind. It is expressed clearly and specifically as a statement. For example, instead of thinking exercise might be a good for health, a hypothesis would state regular exercise reduce the risk of heart disease. This clear verbal expression is necessary because it makes the hypothesis something you can test and measure, allow the others to understand and evaluate it as well. Now, the next one is verbal statement in a declarative form. If we talk about the verbal statement in a declarative form, that means the hypothesis is built upon underlying ideas or theories. These concepts might include things like a motivation, behavior, or performance. For example, if your hypothesis is that motivation improves performance, the concept of motivation and performance are the key parts of the framework that guides your research. Now, the third one is tentative relationship between variables. A hypothesis progress a possible relationship between variables. What it doesn't assume their relationship is definitely true. It remains upon to being a proven right or wrong. For instance, if you hypothesize that the students who sleep more score higher on test, you are suggesting a link between the amount of sleep, that is the one variable, and the test score, that is the another variable. However, this relationship is tentative, meaning it needs to be tested and could be either supported or disproven by the evidence, by the findings. Now, the fourth one is forward or future oriented. A hypothesis is always looking ahead, trying to predict what might happen if certain conditions are met. It is not about explaining something that has already occurred. Instead, it is about exploring what could happen in the future based on the current knowledge. For example, a hypothesis might predict that if a new teaching method is implemented, students' grade will improve. This prediction sets the stage for the future research to see if the prediction holds true or not. Now, the next and the last one is pivot of scientific research. The hypothesis is like the foundation of a building. Everything in the research process is built around it. Once a hypothesis is established, researchers design experiment and gather the data. And after gather the data, analyze the result specifically to see if the hypothesis is correct or not. If the hypothesis is supported and it support the stronger way the understanding of the subject. If not, it provides the valuable information that might lead to a new hypothesis or adjustment in the theory. Without a hypothesis, scientific research lacks directions and purpose, making it the more clear hypothesis. To formulate the hypothesis is necessary. So, after discussing about the nature of hypothesis, now next we are going to discuss about the source of hypothesis. So if we talk about the source of hypothesis, so basically a good hypothesis can only be derived from the experience in research. Though hypothesis should proceed the collection of data, but some degree of data collection, literature review, or a pilot study will help in development and gradual refinement of the hypothesis. A researcher should have a quality of an alert mind to drive on a hypothesis and quality of critical mind of rejecting faulty hypotheses. So the following source can help the researcher in coming up with a good hypothesis. So as you can see that the first one is review of literature. If we talk about the review of literature, that means reviewing the existing literature is a very critical step in forming a hypothesis. This kind of act involves reading and analyzing the previous research, academic articles, books, and reports related to your area of interest. By doing so, you can understand what has already been discovered, identifying the gaps and in the current knowledge, and see how others have framed their hypothesis. This foundation helps you to build a hypothesis that is informed by established theories and findings, ensuring that your research is relevant and grounded in existing knowledge. Take an example. If you are interested in studying the effects of social media on mental health, a literature review might reveal that previous studies have focused mainly on teenagers, leaving a gap in understanding its impact on older adults. This might could lead you to hypothesis that social media uses has a significant impact on the mental health of older adults. Now, the second one is discussion with expert. Engaging in discussion with expert in the field can provide a valuable insight that might not be readily available in the literature. Experts can offer their perspectives on the problems you are studying, share their experiences, and suggest the possible direction for the research. These conversations can help clarify the problem, its origin, and the objectives of the seeking a solution, which in turn can guide you in formulating a strong and relevant hypothesis. Now, let's take an example. If you are researching climate, talking to whether knowledgeable person, an environmentalist, scientist, or a policies makers could give you a deeper understanding of current challenges and emerging trends, leading you to hypothesize that community-based interventions are more effective in reducing the carbon footprints than individual actions. Now, next one is intuitions of the researcher. If we talk about the intuition of researcher, sometimes a researcher's intuitions or creative thinking plays a key role in forming a hypothesis. Intuition comes from a deep understanding of the subject combined with experience and insight. While intuition is not based on the concrete data or prior evidences, it can guide the researchers to form a hypothesis that is novel or explores the unrevealed work areas of research. However, it is a very essential that such hypotheses are evaluated backed up by empirical testing. So take an example. Suppose that a researcher studying the effects of stress on productivity might can be a intuitive. Feel the short, regular breaks throughout the workday could improve the focus and outputs. So, this intuition could lead to a hypothesis that taking a 5 minutes breaks every hour increase the workplace productivity. Now, the next and the last one is previous empirical studies. So basically, if we talk about the previous empirical studies, that means reviewing the previous empirical studies, those based on observed and measured phenomena. It provides a solid foundation for developing a new hypothesis. These studies offer a concrete data and findings that you can build upon either by replicating the study in a new context or by expanding on the findings to explore a new angles. By analyzing what has already been empirically tested, you can refine your hypothesis to make it more specific, more measurable, and testable. Let's take an example. Suppose that if previous studies have shown that a certain diet reduces a heart disease risk in a middle-aged man, you might develop a hypothesis that the same diet will have a similar effects on a middle-aged women, thereby extending the research to a new demographic. So overall, these source literature review, expert discussion, researcher intuitions, and previous empirical studies, it provides a strong foundation for formulating a hypothesis. Each source offers a different insight that, when combined, can lead to a well rounded and researchable hypothesis settings the stage of effective and meaningful scientific inquiry. So, this is all about the hypothesis and the source of hypothesis. Thank you.